It's Heels on Wheels, the racing show by female racers, for female racers, about female racers, featuring female racers, with a few surprises thrown in. Heels on Wheels is brought to you by Renew Salon and Spa, Excelsior Racing, and Dragonflies and Nymphs Creation. And now, here are your hosts, Krista Elise, Taylor Hyatt, Jean Kinzer-Dana, Stacy Grammer, and Emily Gotti.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Heels on Wheels radio program. I'm the executive producer, Taylor Hyatt, and we have one heck of a show coming your way. Let's get right into our guest lineup for today. First up, crew chief for Little Evil Racing, Tracy Pearson, and then jet drag racer for Lane Larson Motorsports, Don Perdue. A campaign to ban the word bossy. Can they even do that? And Jimmy Johnson's involved. Find out what all the hype is about and what the ladies of Heels on Wheels have to say about it all on our Racing Roundtable. KDP is back with more from Beauty's Got Muscle. And as always, Chef Sizzlin Scotty with another great grillin' dish. So let's put those heels in drive and get this show on the road. All right, it's time for our racing news part of the show. My favorite part of the show, by the way. And it's basically where we tell you all the stuff we care about and throw some other stuff in there, too, that maybe not be so interesting to us. But we've got a ton of stuff to talk about. There's a ton of racing going on this coming weekend, so let's jump right in it. And also, Diana's here with me. Hi, Diana.
Hey, thank you for that introduction.
No problem. So, like I said, there's a ton of stuff going on this weekend. But first, we're going to talk about the Bossy campaign in our roundtable, but I do want to mention Jimmy Johnson has been getting slammed on Twitter with this whole thing. I mean, people are saying they're not going to be his fans over everything, so it's definitely something you guys are going to want to stick around for and listen to that. I don't know if you've heard anything about that this week, Diana, but it has really got underneath people's skin.
Well, is this the same campaign that was started by Sandberg of Facebook's sister, how women are called bossy, but really, people should be calling them leaders? And
exactly.
Okay, yeah, I'm so on that, absolutely. Yeah, what did Jimmy do now?
Yeah, well, he's part of it, so I guess people are not too happy with him right now. So let's move on, and we're going to get into what's going on this weekend. MX5 Cup in Sebring, Wednesday through Friday. NHRA is in Gainesville, Florida, Thursday through Sunday.
Florida shout out, Sebring and Gainesville.
F1 starts off their season in Australia this weekend, Friday through Sunday, and let me tell you, I am so excited about this. I've been waiting for Formula One all winter. And then, of course, the 12 hours of Sebring going on. Our host network, Performance Motorsports Network, is going to be covering the whole race, so make sure you check them out. Like their Facebook page, get on the website. You'll hear all the coverage all day long, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it. A little bit of local stuff. Washington, D.C. region has their first PDX of the season at Summit Point Motorsports Park, the main circuit this weekend, and also WDCR Rallycross is moving to their new location in Frostburg, Maryland this weekend for their first event. So that's going to be really interesting. It's all gravel, no real dirt. So it's going to be pretty interesting what these guys do. My dad's racing, so I'll be there. So if you guys are coming out, let me know. And I know some girls there, so we're going to have lots of connections come Monday morning.
All right.
NASCAR this weekend is at Bristol Motorsports Park. Nationwide Saturday at 12 p.m. and Sprint Cup Sunday at 1 p.m. Lots of stuff going on. That's a lot to talk about. Sebring.
Yeah, we have the duck NASCAR duck race coming up. We're over at Texas Motor Speedway, and they're going to be introducing Big Hoss, that great big huge gigantic screen that's like the biggest in the country or the world or something.
Oh, wow. That's
going to be, that's within the next couple of weeks. I don't remember. It's called like the Duck Championship, and they're going to have the guys from what is that crazy duck show?
Duck Dynasty?
That's it. Yeah, the ZZ Top looking dude.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's something we're going to have to watch out for. So I want to talk about the Dodge Vipers that I guess they were given to colleges a few years back and as testing dummies, basically. They were tearing them apart, putting them back together. Colleges, high schools, and, they got these brand new cars, and now they're to be crushed instead of given to collectors or sold at auction or anything. So a lot of people are not happy about that. What are your thoughts?
I can understand, especially if you love the brand. I mean, it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to go the way of the DeLorean, or it's going to go the way of this is going to be Dodge's, way of trying to maybe get it to become a classic a little before its time, or at least make them a little bit more valuable on the auction blocks, like at Meekum and Bear Jackson.
Exactly.
Not quite sure. I don't get their mentality, but I'm sure they know something I don't. So.
All right. Well, our producer over here is bouncing in his seat about this topic.
Ooh, come on, Bob.
Yeah, it's one of those things that really has gotten me going on Facebook, and so I've got. I'm actually surprised you said anything about it. Basically, what these
Hey, is it because I'm a girl?
No.
I take offense to that.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I'll shut up. No, it has to do with the pre-production runs of cars that they send out to the magazines, send out to the various honchos and stuff from the motorsports trade industry, and they get to drive these cars. They're pre-production cars. They're not fully street legal. And what happened is when they bring them back in, traditionally they're crushed because they're not street legal, and they don't. And Chrysler or the manufacturer doesn't want them to get out into the driving public. Now, what Chrysler did was, as a PR move, and I think it was a great move, gave these cars to trade schools and high schools and auto shop programs around the country. There are 93 of them. Well, apparently, they're not supposed to be driven. They're not supposed to be used on the street, and several were, resulting, at least one of which was resulting in some legal action, possibly a ticket or something even more. Well, Chrysler got wind of this, and they said that we're going to pull them all back and crush them. Now, my thought, and this is just me being Gearhead Bob here, is that Chrysler, yes, should bring them back, retitle the cars as salvage titles so they can't ever be registered on the street again, and then sell them to race teams and to museums so that they can be appreciated as pre-production run vehicles, or they can be raced. Now, a couple of guys that have driven these cars say they actually handle very poorly, and they're nothing anywhere close to what the current production Vipers handle like. But, if you've got a Viper as a race car, that's, you're going to change all the suspension mounting points anyway. Then that money would go from Chrysler to the institutions where they originally donated them, and they could be used in any way they wanted to. And that was my idea. And it's gained a little bit of popularity on Facebook, but I think it makes a whole lot more sense than just crushing the cars. Use them, put them in museums, but make sure they can't be driven on the street.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Mr. Facebook star over there, you know how he threw that in there. All right. Well, we are just about out of time for our racing news. Make sure you check out everything that's going on this weekend. It's a lot. Make sure you look at our Facebook page. We'll be posting updates. And for now, let's go see what Scotty's got cooking in the kitchen.
Thanks, ladies. It is Sizzlin Scotty, and it's time for another fantastic tailgating recipe. Today we've got something new. A lot of times you go to a tailgate and you'll see people, they bring chips and salsa. They'll bring some kind of dip. So we're going to go in a different direction today. We're going to get away from the grill, and we're going to put something together that is dip-oriented, and very simply, it's a hoagie dip, and it's great. It's got a lot of fantastic flavors in it. So we'll dive right into it, and we'll give you the ingredients list. First, we're going to take one medium onion, and we're going to slice that thin. We're going to take about 6 to 8 peppercini peppers, and those are the ones you get in the jars. Half a head of iceberg lettuce, 1 large tomato, and we're going to have that up. We're going to chop that up. We're going to take a 1/4 pound of deli sliced Genoa salami, a 1/4 pound of deli sliced ham, a 1/4 pound of deli sliced prosciutto, a quarter pound of deli sliced roast turkey, a quarter pound of deli sliced provolone cheese, a half a cup of mayonnaise, 1.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1.5 teaspoons of dried basil, a quarter to a half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And again, this is where you can, your taste may vary depending on how much heat you want. And you're going to have 1 12-inch round loaf of Italian bread. And then you can also have some extra baguette bread that's sliced up into little rounds that you could use also depending on how much bread you actually get out when we make this bread bowl that we're going to use to serve our dip in. So we're going to chop up the onion, the pepperoncini, peppers, the lettuce, and the tomato into bite-sized pieces. We're going to dice the meats and dice the cheeses. We're going to combine all the chopped vegetables, the meats, cheeses, in a large bowl. We're going to add the mayonnaise, and we're going to stir that all up. Then we're going to take the olive oil, and we're going to stir that in. And then finally, we're going to take the oregano, the basil, and the red pepper flakes and stir that in. Now, sometimes, ladies, doing things in small steps is better than just throwing everybody into the pool and having one big mess. And that's the reason that we add the mayonnaise first, mix that in, the olive oil next, mix that in, and then we mix in our dry spices just to stir that all in so it's all mixed up really nice. And we're gonna refrigerate that. You can refrigerate it for a couple hours or even overnight. And then you're gonna bring that to the blacktop, get it ready for at the tailgate party. You're gonna have your round loaf of Italian bread. And just like with other dips and other bread bowl type things, you're going to carve the center of the bread loaf out to make the bowl. You're going to make sure that you don't cut through the bottom, and you're going to cut those scraps into bite-sized pieces. And then you're going to be able to serve that hoagie dip with that bread or that extra baguette pieces. And what you can do, set this out. Want to make sure don't set this out into the sun because of the mayonnaise. But you're gonna dish that stuff into that bread bowl, serve that up real nice. And you know what, ladies, this would go really, really nice with a nice white wine, nice Chardonnay, or even a nice ice cold beer. This is something that is easily transportable, and then as you go through your afternoon of tailgating, you can always add things, always add more of that hoagie dip to the bowl as people are eating it. Now, this is one of my favorites, and I hope you all enjoy this. So you can find these recipes on our Facebook page, which is Tailgate Grillin' with Sizzlin and Scotty, or you can find it on the Heels on Wheels Facebook page. Drop us a comment and let us know what you'd like in a future show. And we'll be back right after these messages.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
All I wanna do. Hi, this is Sugarland here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Music is one of the most important things in our lives, but nothing is more important than life itself. Music lives, and so should you. Please plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate.
Friends don't let friends
Drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, you got a problem with women drivers? Well, these ladies will run circles around you and most of your friends. Now, back to Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com.
All right. Well, all I can say after listening to Scotty is I am now hungry and need a beer. So we're going to move on and keep going with the show, or else I might have to leave. I have crew chief and from Little Evil Racing, Tracy Pearson, here with me, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how she got involved in motorsports and basically what it's like to be a girl in a male-dominated sport. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
We're doing well. I have Diana Clausen here with me as well, and like I said, we're really excited to have you on the show. So why don't you get started and tell us how you got involved with cars?
I got involved about 17 years ago when I met my husband. He bracket raced, and I really wasn't very much into it whenever I first met him, but he got me into it, and about 11 years ago, we started in the heads-up racing, and I really just took on to that. So I just wanted to learn and learn and learn and learn. So we started out with a nitrous car, and I spent hours and days on the phone with MSD and different nitrous companies, just learning how it worked and just the whole process so that I could help him. And he's not a very, technology person. So it helped our race program. From nitrous, we moved on to turbo, and the guys at Pressurized Solutions really helped me a lot, learning the different fuel injections. We started out with MFI, and that was a hard program to learn, so I changed to fast, and I learned how to tune fast. We had a big block turbo car. We had a couple mile-per-hour records with that. And then about 2 years ago, we bought a small block Pro Charger car, and we brought Mustang Mike from New York on board, and he taught me all about big stuff, and he's just really helped David and I as, racers and tuners to be remarkable. We went 424 at 172 a couple weeks ago at South Georgia Motorsports Park, the fastest car on 275 radial in the world right now.
That's awesome. You guys are doing a lot of cool stuff with this. I brought up a video and I was watching it, and it's just amazing. This kind of stuff amazes me, how fast these cars can go. So, if you are lucky enough to see a girl on a crew, you usually see her changing tires or checking pressures or stuff like that. But you can basically tear that engine apart and put it back together, correct?
Yeah, if I had to with a little bit of help. Because for the longest time, the first probably 8 years of that David and I, started in the heads up, it was just the two of us. We didn't have anybody else on our crew, and then slowly, we started adding people that go with us, and I don't have to do as much as that now, so I can just, focus what we need to do tuning, and I don't have to worry about changing plugs and tires, and I'm lucky to have, a husband that allows me to do that. A lot of guys, they don't want their wives to do that, or their girlfriends even. And so I'm just really lucky that he lets me be a part of it.
Yeah, a lot of guys think, that's their guy time, but little do they know, we're right there ready to be right behind them. So
yeah.
After you told me you've been doing this for 14 years now, does it ever just get old or tedious, or are you just ready to get in there and work on the car all the time?
I'm just ready all the time. I'm so bored in the winter because there's nothing to do. So when it's race time, we plan our vacations around our race season. Most of the time our races are our vacations. We just have that much passion for the sport. There's not many, families, I guess, that do that anymore. It's kind of split. The men go off to the racetrack and the women go shopping or whatever it is they do. But I would much rather be at the racetrack any day than at the mall.
Yeah, I understand that completely. It sounds a lot like my family. I can't remember the last time we actually went on a vacation without visiting a racetrack.
Yeah.
So, do you actually race yourself, or is it just your husband?
No, I don't race myself, just my husband. And I'm happy with that. Happy to be a part of it. And
Diana?
I love her humble demeanor, which she's happy to be a part of it. But, what you said today, Tracy, is blowing my mind. I love, first of all, how you said, you know what, I'm not going to let my lack of knowledge keep me from participating. I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to learn this. It might be foreign, it might be weird, but A, I'm going to learn it because I can. B, of course, I'm going to support my husband. And, and it's good that you do support your husband, but I also love the fact that he supports you, and he is not threatened, by you and your knowledge. And it sounds like he's actually been very encouraging about it.
Yeah, for the most part he has been. And there's a lot of men that just, they're not. And I think that women in this sport, they're like held at a higher level. If you're going to be in it, you're going to have to perform at a higher level than a man just to prove that you belong.
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's definitely in the entire industry, but, we still see that in regular corporate America, still alive and well, unfortunately, today.
Yeah.
So have you been to any official training or any type of schooling to work on the cars, or have you just learned everything from actually getting in there and doing it?
I've just learned everything from just doing it. I know that they offer, I know Fast offers a class on how to operate their fuel injection. I know that Big Stuff does every once in a while at the PRI show. And so I've just got in there and just learned it and figured it out and read the books and ask questions. And luckily, the guys that I work with, they don't ever think that I have a dumb question, because some of them probably are pretty dumb, but you have to ask them to learn.
Exactly. So tell us about the cars that, or the car that you guys are racing this season and what you're looking forward to this season.
We have a 93 Ford Mustang stock suspension with it's a 449 cubic inch small block Ford built by Jason Eckert of Bullet Race Engines out of Hickory, North Carolina. And we try to hit all of the Duck X production races. We are planning to go to Memphis next weekend, to Tyler Crossnor's race. We're going to be at Holly Springs a couple of times this year. This coming weekend, we leave Friday morning to go to our local track, Shadyside Dragways, have an Outlaw 275 race. We anything local that we can do to support our local tracks, we're going to do. We have a couple sponsors, and a few more have came on board since we set that record a few weeks ago. And, there's a few races that they want us to be at, so we're more than happy to do that. I just look forward to running the best that we can. I want to hold on to that record as long as we can. Maybe, if all goes well, we'll up it a little bit more. My goal for this year was to go 430s, because no Pro Charge car, no small block Pro Charge car had been that fast. We were currently second in the world with small block Pro Charge car, and now we're first. So I just wanted to go 30s, and we went a 24, so that we surpassed that already. So we just want to go out and have fun and do good and learn everything we can, because technology just changes every day, and every little bit you learn just helps your program.
Do you think it's hard to keep up with all the technology that you have to put in the car? I mean, especially with not having a lot of training, do you think you have to work that much harder with all this new technology that's coming on board?
I think you have to work a little bit harder, but you also have to have the drive to do it. It's hard to keep up with technology, because you'll get something new and it'll be the newest thing, and then 2 weeks later they've got something else coming out. So you can't ever keep up, 100% unless you're just loaded down with money, so you can buy new parts every 2 weeks. So you just have to have the drive and the want to learn make what you have work.
How do you think you guys got that world record and set the track record? Was it something you guys are doing? Is it the car? Is it the tuning? I mean, what is it that got you to where you guys wanted to be?
It's the whole combination. It's not just the car or the motor or the people. It's the whole. It's everything together. You know, nobody ever thought a Pro Charger car would be that fast because this is kind of a turbo world that we live in now. Everybody's changing to turbo from nitrous, or even Pro Charger guys were changing to turbo. I think it's just our whole package, and we test, try new things. And, you know, we were so lucky. Mustang Mike Modesty, he didn't want to be a tuner. He wanted to drive his own car, and he helped the Bruder brothers for a couple of years and got them where they needed to be, and, you know, they took off with their program. And we have actually kept him on our team, and he's like been just the greatest friend and mentor. And, I mean, he knows, you know, the things to teach and how to make a blower car work. And, you know, without him, I'm not going to say we couldn't have been here, but, you know, a lot of it is having him on our team. I think it just helped us get there a lot sooner. But, you know, we try these things all the time. We'll test stuff. You know, we'll rent a local track and just go test stuff for a day and throw out what doesn't work and, you know, keep in our notes what does work.
What advice would you give to other girls that want to be in your position and want to help and maybe even want to race? What could you tell them to help them get started?
They have to be doing it for the right reasons. They have to do it because they have a love for the sport and a love for it. They have to give it 150% because you have to want to learn it, and you can't do it overnight. I mean, I'm still learning stuff, and I've been doing it for 15 years almost now. So you just keep learning every day, and you keep going back over your data from races from a year ago, and you see things that you could change to make it better. And, I mean, you just have to be 150% into it because you can't be at one race and not at the next. It's not something that you're just there, you know, to look cute or just to be a part of something for a day. It's got to be a long-term commitment.
All right. Well, I want to give you a couple of seconds here to mention any sponsors and where our listeners can find you on any social media.
Okay. I'd like to thank Jason Eckert at Bullet Race Engines for building our motors. We've got UPR suspension products, Chance Racing Converters, John Meany over at Big Stuff 3, VP Racing Fuels, Mickey Thompson Tires, Mark Mintzer at Mintzer Motorsports, Engel Bell Bonds, LAT Racing Oils, Wasco Pistons, and at the top of my list would definitely be Pro Charger right now. You guys can follow us on, we have Twitter. It's you'll find it under Miss Little Evil. And then I'm also on Instagram at Miss Little Evil. And we don't do Facebook. You know, some of our friends do, and you can find those from my Instagram. I have links to those to our friends that do Facebook.
All right. Well, it's been great talking with you today, and we wish you the best of luck this season. This has been Taylor Hyatt along with Diana Clausen for Heels on Wheels radio program on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Shopping around for your racing gear, driving from store to store only to find they don't have what you want? Barter's Racing Collectibles on Black Gap Road in Fayetteville, Pennsylvania has it all. The hottest NASCAR, IRL, and NHRA diecast, T-shirts, jackets, flags, and more. Everything racing. Stop by or check out their website, www.partnersracing.com, or call 717-352-2782. You'll be surprised at the selection, prices, and friendly client service. UPS, FedEx, and USPS shipping available. Farners Racing Collectibles, www.farnersracing.com, or call 717-352-2787. Farners Racing Collectibles, where racing comes alive.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Ever hire, never quit. Lofty goals in this age of shoddy quality, corporate indifference, and built-in obsolescence. It's a beacon of light in a crowded field of mediocrity. The way a company is run is an indication of how you, the customer, is going to be treated. You have a lot of choices when you're searching for auto and performance parts online and at the corner parts store. So why should you buy from Excelsior Racing? Because they're simply the best online parts supplier in the business. If you're looking for selection, ease of ordering, cost, and prompt delivery, look no further. If you have a question, our customer service hotline, staffed by knowledgeable gearheads like you, will ensure that you get what you need to fix or mod your car or truck. With 1,000 suppliers, you're guaranteed to get what you need. First time, every time. Excelsior Racing. Excellence on the track. Excellence on the road. Excellence in customer service. Online at ExcelsiorRacing.com or call 502-909-2034.
You got it locked to Heels on Wheels, the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group. Now back to the women wearing the driver's suits.
Hey everyone, we're back with the Heels on Wheels radio program. This is Taylor Hyatt along with Diana Clausen, and we are super excited to have jet drag racer from Larson Motorsports, Dawn Perdue. How are you?
Good, how are you guys?
We are doing well. So we had Elaine on a couple of weeks ago, and she kind of blew all of our minds. So we're hoping that you can do the same thing for us.
Oh, wow. It's exciting. She's a very nice lady.
All right. So tell us how you got started in motorsports.
Actually, I got started drag racing at an early age. Actually, my whole family does it, from my mom, my dad, and my brother. So ever since I've been in diapers, I've been at the drag strip. And when I turned 16, I ended up buying my own race car and driving super pro categories with my Pro Stock Pinto, and that's where I all got started.
Oh my God, she's a Pinto girl.
Yes, I'm a Pinto girl. Believe it or not.
That was my first car. It was a Pinto station wagon, so there you go. We're Pinto sisters.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. You know what? You don't seem like that's like a muscle car or anything like that. You're like, oh, a Pinto. But, I saw it. It was cute little, and there was not a lot out there that, nobody really drove a Pinto. And at that time, when I was 16 years old, there was not really a lot of girls out there racing. They were racing Camaros and stuff like that. And, I picked this car, and, it wheel stands like past the 60-foot in the quarter mile, and it stays up in the air, and it's very amazing. It's a really fun car.
Okay, that's a true girl statement right there, folks. It's cute, which is why I bought it.
That's right.
It doesn't get any more girly than that. I know we're supposed to be like manly and tough, but every once in a while, it's cute. We have to have it.
Hey, that's what makes it special.
Oh, yes, it definitely does. Yes, it's cute and little, and you know what? It has a big motor, and actually, I'm at the moment building a new Pinto. It's going to be a Pro Stock Pinto with a big block 514 in it. So I should be going about 750s in the quarter mile, probably about 190. So it's in the works right now. It's at the paint shop getting done, and I'm going to be keeping both cars and probably turning the old Pinto into just a complete wheel-standing car going down the quarter mile. And then the new one, I'm just going to drag strip it, at the NHRA races and stuff like that.
He's like the world's fastest Pinto.
I know. You know what? There isn't too many out there. You know what? Believe it or not, there's a lot more Pintos coming around now. So I see them out there, and I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Or, mainly, there's no girls really racing the Pintos, but I see guys coming up, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I love my Pintos. I could have picked any car. I was looking at dragsters. I was looking at, Mustangs and stuff like that. I'm a Ford girl and everything, so I was, but I still love my Pintos, so that's what I went for again.
So you're working with Elaine right now. Tell us how you got involved with her.
Oh, wow. You know what? I've known Larson's for about 8 years. I run the NMRA and NRA races, and actually they were racing when I first met them at a Ford race, which I tried to go all throughout the United States racing the Ford races, and I met them. I was always infatuated with the jets since I was a little girl. Actually, there was a jet team called the Queen of Diamonds, which is still around. and I saw that car, and I was in love with it because there was a girl driving it ever since I was a little girl. So I met Larson's in Florida about 8 years ago, and they were looking for a driver, and then back then, and I was like, well, I don't know. I still like racing my Pinto and stuff like that. So we kept contact, and actually I was driving for another jet team before I met Larson's, and last year, just getting my license and stuff with this other jet team from Acco, New Jersey. And actually, they put out a press release looking for a driver, and, I talked to them. I was like, you know me inside and out. I'm a true racer. I love cars. I love the fans. I love talking to people. I love going to new tracks and stuff, and I got picked for the number 1 driver for this year. They were going to pick 2, and I was the first one they picked, and then they picked the second driver probably like about 6 months later.
That's so cool.
I've known them for a long time. I know they're a great team, and I love them like family.
That's so cool. So I want to go back, and you said your entire family has raced. Have you ever actually got to race beside of them or with them?
Yes, I have. And you know what? My favorite moment was lining up against my brother for the first time. I thought I'd be like, oh, I'm scared to death because, it's my family there. And, I thought he would mess with me. And, there's a lot of games you play when you go up there. We bracket race. So, there's a lot of head games you play when you go up to the line and stuff with each other and stuff. But you know what? I went up there, and actually, you know what? I felt like I was racing against him, but actually, he was scared to drive. He was actually scared to drive against me. He has never beat me yet.
I'm sure he loves that.
When I get up there, I do my burnout. I have full focus to the finish line, and I told him, I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I love you, but when you're beside me, you're a stranger. I'm going to try to kick your butt.
That's so awesome.
But you know what? But I always mess with him before I get in the car. I'm like, I'm going to kick your butt, everything else, and every time he either red lights against me or something always happens. I don't know. I don't know if I get in his head or what.
He's just nervous. That's all it is.
Yes, but my brother and I, we race in the same category as bracket race is Super Pro. But my mom, she has a supercharged Mustang. She runs in the bracket 2 category with the foot brake races and stuff. And then my dad, he races a lot of time the sportsman's category, but he's getting out of it now. So it's he likes watching us and helping us going down the track. So he's getting ready to retire. I don't want him to retire, but he's getting ready to.
Well, I wish Krista was here today because I hear that you're a big Mustang fan.
Oh yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah, Krista,
for sure.
she's a big Mustang fan. She's working on her Project Blue at the moment. So, what is it that attracts you to Mustangs?
You know what? I don't know, but the thing is, I had when I turned 16, it had to be a V8, and it had to be a Ford because I got brought up in the Ford family, and I couldn't get nothing but a Ford, as my dad said. So he bought me a brand new Mustang and everything. But I just like to look at them. There's not really a sporty Ford car, there's only a Mustang really. Right. And I was hooked with it, the sound of it. I have a supercharged Saline Mustang right now. It's supercharged from the factory. It's a 2007 Saline Mustang, and it's just they're slick looking. They sound awesome, and actually, you know what? I can hear any of them coming down the road. I know it's a Mustang.
That's so awesome.
But they're just they're just so hot. They're so adorable, I think, and I think I liked the Mustang because all my buddies had Mustangs, and they were trying to come after me and trying to race me all the time, and they had their Camaros and their Firebirds and stuff like that, and I would soup my car up, and I would actually street race on the road with them and beat them, and I was hooked with the Mustang ever since then, but my parents really didn't know I did that.
Well, they do now.
But that's when they took me to the track and made sure. They're like, okay, I think they might have found out about it, because then they were like, okay, well, it's time for you to go back on the track and stay on the track and not do it on the road. I'm like, what do you mean?
That's no fun.
I've got to tell you, I interviewed Elaine a few years back. She blew my mind. It's amazing to think you guys have that jet engine right next to your head. And as much as I love to go fast, I don't think I have the balls to have that jet engine next to my head. Has that ever bothered you or scared you for a second? Or
I've been 190, and you know what? When I first got into Pinto, I was like, oh my gosh, that car launches up in the air. I can't do it. But then, you know what? I wanted to drive a jet so bad. Ever since I saw it, I didn't care. Like, you know what? It's really noisy on the outside, but when you're in the cockpit and you have your helmet on, you really can't hear that. But then you think, oh my gosh, I have this jet engine behind me, and it's on. You're on fire going out down the track. There's fire coming out of the back, And the thing is, it's so weird to get used to driving a jet from a regular car, because in your head, it's common sense, the fuel is always at your feet, on your right foot, and then the brake is at your left foot, and that's where it is. Well, now getting this jet, the fuel is at your hands, and then you have two brake pedals. You have your right brake pedal is your front brakes, and the left one is the back brakes. So we have to have them to hold the car 5,000 pounds of thrust at the line. So you're going into the lights and staging the first light and pre-staging the second light, and you're holding. Once you start that baby, you are there's no turning, like pretty much turning back. There's no park, and there's no it's just full throttle all the way. So you're holding all those 5,000 pounds of thrust, sliding into the lights, holding that baby at the line with your feet.
All right.
So it's kind of starting it up and everything. You hear it when you do it the first time and everything. You're like, oh my gosh, you're going to just shoot off to the across the fields and everything else. You're like, oh, it's a scary feeling at first, starting the car up for the first time, and it's something that you could never explain. But going down, like as soon as you hit the afterburner, it's an amazing feeling going down there, and that's something you can't explain either. Going down the track is 4 Gs, and then when I pull the chute at the end of the track, after the finish line, it's a negative 6 Gs against you.
Wow, I have no idea how you do that, but I want to give you a second here real quick to mention any sponsors you'd like to put out there.
Actually, at the moment, I am looking for sponsors, and, 2014 is my first year of driving the jet for a full year, and I'm looking for sponsors. So, if anybody's out there, wanting to sponsor a 27-year-old girl from Pennsylvania.
There you go.
But, yeah, so, you're always looking and everything. I'm trying to make this a full career, and, I want to make that happen sooner or later.
All right. Well, it's been great talking with you, and we hope the best for you, and we're going to keep up with everything you're doing.
Oh, great. Thank you. And I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Not a problem. This has been Taylor Hyatt along with Diana Clausen for Heels on Wheels radio program on the Performance Motorsports Network. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to Blacktop Boot Camp's Beltway Survival Minute, where we teach you how to survive the mean streets of the D.C. metro area. We've already had our first taste of winter, and the body shops are overflowing with cars whose drivers ran out of talent and crashed. 99% of the drivers out there overestimate their driving ability, but we're going to try to help you become a better driver. While today's cars have outstanding features like anti-lock brakes and active handling systems, there's only so much that these systems can do to compensate for driver error. In fact, in snow, sand, gravel, and mud, ABS actually increases your stopping distance by 3 times or more. So an average car that normally stops from 60 miles an hour and 140 feet will take 420 feet to stop in the snow with ABS. So when the snow starts piling up on the road, you need to increase your following distance to accommodate for this reduction in braking ability. Cheaper than your insurance deductible, the fun, hands-on driving arts classes at Blacktop Boot Camp teach skid control in our skid car, accident avoidance maneuvers, and more. For information on our corporate and team driving courses, please visit www.blacktopbootcamp.com. That's www.blacktopbootcamp.
Hi, I'm Mickey for Bed Bug Detection Services. Bed Bug Detection Services rescues dogs from the Humane Society and the SPCA, then trains them at the Florida Canine Academy. We then pair them up with a handler where they will spend the rest of their lives in a happy family home working in the community. We want to rescue our second dog, but we cannot do it without your help. We are fundraising to bring home our next canine. please go to bbds.us, that's bbds.us, and do your part in helping us rescue another dog. bbds.us will give life, home, and a meaning to another dog. bbds.us. With every donation, you will receive a signed postcard from our current bed bug detection dog rescue, Lily. Go to bbds.us. And thank you.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
This is Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportNetwork.com. Now, back to the fastest ladies on four wheels.
Hey guys, this is Katie from Beauty's Got Muscle. So this past week, I almost got into a horrific car accident, so I'm going to paint you a picture because I learned something from this awful experience, as we always do in events in life. So I was driving along in commuter traffic, though. I was moving quickly, keeping up with the speed limit, but there was a lot of cars around everybody. So I was in the right lane, cruising along, and all of a sudden the guy in the left lane, Hyundai Elantra, decided that he wanted to come into the right lane. He signaled and everything, bravo, but he did not, care to check that there was another vehicle with a human being inside of it, next to him. Like, he didn't just slowly enter into my lane and then dart away. He continued to come into my lane and push me up onto the grass where I was driving through God knows what. It looked like the Amazon. I don't think it had been mowed in millions of months or years. And I had no time to even react with anger at him that, like, this was all happening and I was just, anticipating possible death. And also, for some reason, I didn't think once to take my foot off the gas. So that probably didn't help. But once I got back onto the street, after he realized his tremendous error, and backed way the fuck off, I swerved a little bit, zigzagged and fishtailed. Luckily, I was driving my Cavalier, which is my daily driver, another Chevy bow tie, only allowed in the family and in my family. And thank God it wasn't Ned, because if it was Ned I was rolling in, that man would have been murdered and I'd be in jail for sure. So anyway, the Cavalier is a front-wheel drive, and I think, to be honest, that was definitely my saving grace that I didn't go completely haywire, and also my experience in racing and dealing with awful people on a day-to-day basis. So the Cavalier got back in a straight line, and now I have time to process what has just occurred to me, and of course I'm livid. I look in my rearview mirror and I can see that the Elantra was probably about, I'd say a quarter mile behind me, maybe a little more. So I cranked down the window real fast. I almost broke it in my fury, and I stick my finger out the window, obviously a selected bird, the middle one, and I really let that bird fly. And that wasn't enough for me, and I don't think that would have been enough for any other human being. So I'm like, now I need to see this MFer. I need to look into his soul and scare him, scare the lights out of him, and possibly steal it with my ginger ways. So I got off the gas as well, and I'm waiting for him to catch up to me. And I swear to God, he must have been doing a 30 now and a 55 because he was that shit scared of me. And rightfully so. He, one, almost witnessed the death of me caused by him, and two, he now knows that he's infuriated a ginger. He may not know I was a ginger, but he was sure about to. So I backed up and finally got next to him, and as he's approaching me in my rearview mirror, I'm already I'm ready to give it to him. I was just super mad I didn't have a banana peel in my car to whip out at him. That's one of my MOs. I like to toss banana peels out at people. Number one, I like to eat bananas, great potassium, very good for you, good fiber. Number two, like Mario Kart. I think it's a great game, and it taught us a lot of life lessons. If nothing a banana peel can't solve. And it's not too harmful, it's just a little silly. It's great. It's kind of like a gentleman's slap when they used to take off those white gloves and smack the guy in the face. There's something still respectable about it, and silly and appropriate. Any case. So there was no banana peel, so I just had nothing but my rage. And he's coming up in the rearview mirror, and I can see he's got both his hands over, and nothing but genuine apologetic emotion pouring from this guy's every single pore. And I could see in his mouth, he was saying to me, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. He had both his hands up, and his kid looked shit scared next to him. His kid was like a street youth, though. He looked like a punk, but he was pretty scared too, so they both had really apologetic faces. And in that moment, everything was redeemed. And I learned something about myself. I had full intention of literally ripping his throat out like John Rambo. But because he apologized so quickly and so sincerely, and he knew he was so wrong, and he looked just as scared as I was, it was all okay. And that's when I realized that manners on the road mean everything. I have been more mad at somebody who left their signal on in front of me for 5 minutes than I was at this man who definitely almost killed me. And that means something. And I think that means something not only about us as human beings, but if manners were on the road and people also owned up to their mistakes, I think road rage would definitely dissipate massively. Like, if people just were genuinely sorry that they made a mistake, and you see that like that, it made a huge difference to me. And like, I gave him the okay sign after that. I looked at him, I nodded, and I gave him the okay sign with my hands. I said, it's okay. And then I drove off. And it was fine. And I didn't have any awful resentment building inside of me afterwards. And that's the lesson I took from this moment, that you can have made the biggest mistake on the road. Well, as long as you're not killing people, let's put that out there. But, I mean, if you make a mistake on the road and you acknowledge and apologize to the person, you accidentally cut them off, or you make a mistake, a genuine, I'm an idiot mistake. You didn't have your head together that day, and you apologize, I guarantee that person, for the most part, if they're a decent human being, will kind of be okay about it. So what I would like you all to take from this is, if that ever happens to you, make sure to apologize. And if the person apologizes to you, let it be. Everybody makes mistakes. I will tell you, it drives me absolutely crazy, though, when people make a mistake and then they beep at you like it's your fault, or they make a mistake, you yell at them, they yell back at you. Just own up to your mistakes, and the world would generally be a better place. And as obviously I'm going to end it on, for those Prius drivers out there, your mistake was buying your car, so you're not forgiven for that. There's no free pass for that. It's unforgivable, actually. So it doesn't matter to me. Technically, you're not even human at this point. I can't confirm you're human, and I'm not going to. I'm going to just keep believing that you're some kind of robot android who hates the human race and wants to wipe out all happiness. So that'll about wrap it up for me. Everybody remember to have your manners out there, and if you see a Prius, give it the finger for old KDP. This has been another segment with KDP from Beauty's Got Muscle. Now back to the lovely ladies of Heels on Wheels.
Well, all I'm going to say is Katie will be back with us next week, and she isn't in jail. We've confirmed it. She actually did not kill the guy that ran her off the road. So, yeah, look for her next week for sure. So, Diana, it's time for our racing roundtable, and this one has me ready to throw my papers across the room already, and we haven't even started talking about it. So, Facebook's COO, Sheryl Sandberg, is leading a campaign to ban the word bossy. Now, let me put this out there. It's one of those things where, okay, we're not really banning the word. We can't do that. It's not going to happen. But this whole campaign is just about empowering young girls to become leaders. I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. The way it's being handled, it's driving everybody crazy, and I don't know if this was the correct way to do it. I don't know. Say something, Diana, before I get angry.
Well, okay. It's very multifaceted. I think we can definitely all agree on that, because when it first started, I don't know, last month or whatever, I actually posted something on my wall about it, and I had people from all, completely pro, yes, let's get rid of the stigma, to, well, there is such a thing as little bossy brats and blah, 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 blah. And not to say every girl is a bossy brat, but there are some little bossy brats. But you know what? There are some little boy bossy brats out there, too. And I think it's more so the figurative meaning, more so than, the literal meaning. And, this has to do with being a positive reinforcement. And so I don't know. It is a hot-button topic, but I don't know. What else you got on that?
All right. Well, the one statement that they made is, when men assert themselves, they are leaders, and when girls assert themselves, they're bossy. Well, guess what?
Or the other B word.
Yeah, or the other B word. Guess what? If you're bossy, you're bossy. First of all, being bossy,
it has no gender. It has no gender barrier.
Being bossy does not make you a leader. It makes you, how do I put this? A boss, I guess. I mean, and it's fine to be a boss, but just know that everybody's going to think you're bossy, and you have to give and get a little. And I don't know. This thing is driving me crazy. And
I'm afraid to hear more, because if it's making your head spin.
Well, I mean, okay. The whole campaign.
Go for it. We need to channel our inner Krista Elise this week. I've already decided, so go for it. And I'm going to say mofo before this conversation's over. FYI.
Okay,
censor button, Bob.
So the thing that gets me is this whole banning the word. We're not banning a word. If you're bossy, you're bossy. If you're a leader, you're a leader. If you're a leader, you're helping other people You're not saying, do this, do that. I'm telling you to do this. You have to ask people to do things. You have to give a little. If you're bossy, you're bossy. Okay, but Time Magazine put out an article, and they were talking about the other words that people have tried to ban in the past. And they're so stupid. Like tornado, because it puts people in a panic. Really? Get over yourself. If there's a tornado, I want to know about it.
Hell yeah.
And dinosaur, really? What are these people thinking? What is going through your mind when you just wake up one day and say, oh, we can't talk about girls being bossy anymore because it makes them have less self-esteem? Really?
Right.
No, you should have more self-esteem because you know what you're doing enough to tell everybody else what to do.
It is a little extreme. I will give it that. But let's keep going on this because I know we have some big headliners also associated with it.
Yes. So some of the women, Jane Lynch, mostly known from Glee, Beyonce, Jennifer Garner, Victoria Beckham, and the former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, and also our champion NASCAR driver, Jimmy Johnson. And let me tell you, people are not happy with him at all. His Twitter feed is blowing up with people saying things like, at Jimmy Johnson, so you're a communist too. Who knew? Hey, my daughter is bossy and I love it. Hey, JJ, shut up, grow a pair and drive.
Wait. What did Jimmy Johnson say? What did he say?
He
said
said
for it? Is he against it?
All that he said in the actual video was, be strong, be ambitious. That's all he said in the whole thing. I think he had posted some other stuff on Twitter, but it wasn't, he's just saying, girls should be able to be leaders and step up and be encouraged. But
love that.
People are flipping out on him, and they're not going to be his fans, and they're not going to do this. And I don't know. People are going crazy over this, and I don't know why it's such a big deal.
That does make my head spin.
One other thing. In the video, they say, on average, girls' self-esteem drops 3.5 times more than boys between primary and secondary school. Well, girls also go through puberty earlier, okay? Mm-hmm. Girls have a lot of changes going on in that time, where boys, they're hanging out with their friends, they're playing outside, I don't think it has anything to do with being bossy. Really, I don't. Not at all.
We definitely do mature faster because I don't understand most people my age.
So,
absolutely.
So,
especially boys.
Before we run out of time, I want to get a male perspective on this. And Bob, our producer, was talking to me about this earlier, and we're going to hear his thoughts here.
I agree with you ladies completely. I think this is absolutely insane. I understand the point of having important to have strong self-esteem and a strong sense of self-worth. But I've got a son and two girls, and I'm actually very proud of them for being assertive. Were they a little bossy at times? Yeah, but something, that's all part of growing up and learning how to get your way, how to make your way in the world. And I don't think it's bossy. I think I would rather see an assertive woman in a business position or in a driver's position or anywhere than somebody who is diminutive and submissive. That seems to me to be a whole much ado about nothing. How about that? Does that
sounds good to me? Yeah. And I think we're all on the same page here. And I don't know. I'm going to say one last thing. Suck it up, Buttercup. You'll get over it.
Just suck it.
You know what? You're bossy. You're bossy. That's it. So, all right. That's our point of view on the whole banning the word bossy. And hopefully everybody gets over it and stops blowing up my Facebook. All right. That's a wrap for this week's edition of the Heels on Wheels radio program. We'll be back next week with even more amazing guests. Thanks to our guests this week, crew chief for Little Evil Racing, Tracy Pearson, and jet drag racer from Elaine Larson Motorsports, Dawn Perdue. Find out more about KDP and Beauty's Got Muscle by visiting www.beautysgotmuscle.com or on Facebook. For more tailgating recipes, like Chef Sizzlin Scotty's Facebook page, facebook.com/tailgategrilling with Sizzlin Scotty. Our shows are now posted on YouTube, so make sure you look them up, Heels on Wheels PMN, and listen to all of this year's shows. Our hosts have been Chris Elise, Diana Clausen, and myself, Taylor Hyatt. Thanks to our production engineer and programming consultant, Bob Steele. Thanks for listening. Now let's go racing.
Heels on Wheels is a copyrighted production of www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page, Heels on Wheels Radio Show, or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either PMN or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated. Be listening next week as the fastest women on the planet rev it up and talk racing.